there's a question I'm going to address. It doesn't matter if someone says, I don't want to work, I want to get unemployment, or I only want to work one day. It doesn't, no matter what, if you drop their pay by more than 75%, that loan has to be repaid.
Well, only the pro rata portion of the loan.
Yeah, but you still have to be, that's going to count against you no matter what. Even if they told you they don't want to work or they only want to work one day. As far as finding the status of your EIDL loans, you can try and reach SBA. I don't know if you'll be able to talk to them. Everyone wants to know their status of their loan, and there's millions of people out there. So good luck getting a hold of anyone regarding that, Landon. Sorry, wish we had better news. But what happens if employees are on unemployment and then you get the PPP funds and pay them? Let them deal with that in unemployment. I imagine they'll have to pay that back to unemployment, but that's not, I wouldn't worry about that. It's between them and unemployment.
You might warn your employees, though, that if they're getting extra money and they're still getting unemployment, the unemployment doesn't like that, and they have pretty big teeth.
That's actually unemployment fraud, isn't it?
It's unemployment fraud. I could take 10 minutes and tell you the story, but I've had personal experience with the unemployment people, and it is not happy.
You off probation for that?
Yeah, almost. You want me to tell the story? You guys got 4 or 5 minutes?
Well, let's see if there's more questions coming through and then tell the story.
Okay.
Well, actually, I've heard the story. I'm teasing you. So when you tell that story, Lee, do you mind if I get back to work?
You can bail. We don't have any more questions coming
All right,
in.
tell your story. Lee's not really on probation. I'm just teasing. Sometimes people take me serious, so I don't want to cause you problems, Lee. Do you need me to stay? Are you good with me leaving?
I'm good.
Okay.
Get out of here. Go work. A lot of you know that when I was 27 years old, I was diagnosed with stage 4C cancer. Spent 6 months in intensive care and didn't work for another 3 years. So I weigh all of about 90 pounds, bald as a cue ball, can't hardly stand up. And I'm driving down the road and I pass job service, the unemployment people. And I think, oh, those people are supposed to find me a job. So I go in and go up to the counter and say, could you guys help me find a job? And the lady says, well, have you applied for benefits? And I said, no, I haven't applied for benefits. I just want to find a job. She says, oh, we can't help you until you have applied for benefits. So I said, okay, what do we have to do to apply to benefits? And I had to get an excuse from my doctor, and he said I could maybe work part-time and so on and so forth. And so I start out and I'm getting unemployment. I was getting about $95 a week unemployment. I was just out of school, hadn't built up much unemployment. And I do this for a month, and then we get a check. It's for about $105 from the Treasury Department. That's all that's in the envelope. And we think, okay, well, this has got to be a tax refund or something. But I'm going along, and the next month I get another $105 check, and we go, okay, wait a minute, what's going on? What had happened is in the hospital, I was declared totally and permanently disabled. And the social workers in the hospital started my disability. And the $105 was my disability. I had been checking the box on the unemployment saying I was not receiving any other government benefits. And so I went down to job service and I said, okay, I'm getting this check from the government and I've been checking the box saying I wasn't getting anything. What do I do? And they said, well, we don't know, but the main auditor for the state happens to be here. And so I went to see the main auditor, and he said, Mr. Phillips, I have no clue what to do. And he wrote me a letter on the spot. Says, I have no clue what to do. I'll tell you, and I'll research it and get back with you. Well, 2 weeks later, they issue an arrest warrant for me because I had defrauded the unemployment system, or committed fraud on the unemployment system. And so I mean, I'm weighing 95 pounds. I haven't worked for 2 years. I've got 3 little kids and my wife. And my wife and I were staying up nights worrying about this. And it says we've got a telephone conference that we can appeal. So I did the appeal, and the guy says, oh, yeah, I understand. I know exactly what happened. There's no problem. 2 weeks later, they reissued the arrest warrant. And I'm a young attorney at this point, but I'm not thinking straight because I had chemotherapy. I was the national guinea pig, literally. We're talking 53 treating doctors, not 2 or 3 that a normal cancer patient has, and an additional over 250 doctors that we actually got billed from. So it was a major, major project. And I didn't know what to do, but I went down to the law library and I looked it up, and there was one more appeal to an administrative judge, and then the next appeal was to the Utah Supreme Court. And I just didn't know what to do. And I went down to job service and met with a guy, and he says, Mr. Phillips, I absolutely believe you, but I am going to tell you that they're going to nail your ass to the wall. The local TV station's just done a big investigative report on fraud in the unemployment system, and they're going to nail you. And I mean, they would love nothing more than to see a young lawyer hanging from the tree. And finally I thought, okay, I have a friend. He teaches administrative law. And all I could think of was my next appeal was to an administrative judge. And so I went to the friend, and he says, yeah, I'll help you. He was a very, very mellow guy. He was the law professor, mellowest guy you'd ever see. And he made a full case. I mean, we got all the evidence, we did everything. And I thought he really overblew it, but he was prepared. And we went to the administrative law hearing, and we're in this like 6-8 months now. I'm still getting the $105 check from disability, and I'm still getting a weekly check from unemployment. Nobody's going to hire somebody who has a year's life expectancy. And for a decade, that's all the medical profession would give me, was a 1-year life expectancy. And so we went to the court, and he made all of the arguments, and I was kind of proud of him. He was a really mellow guy, but he got wound up. He was really going. And it was all over with, and the judge says, I will take this under advisement and I will issue an opinion. And the guy, my attorney, Steve, he says, could I approach the bench? And the judge says, yes. So we walked up to the bench, and by then I've got, 6 months worth. I've got 30 job service checks, and I've got 6 or 7 of the treasury checks. And Steve walked up to the bench, and he fanned them out all out on the bench. And he said, Your Honor, what would you like Mr. Phillips to do with all of the checks while you're taking this under consideration? And the judge looked at him and said, the guy has never cashed any of the checks. And Steve said, no, we didn't know what to do with them. And the judge says, case dismissed. But I mean, it was close. They were out after me big time. So don't have your employees commit any type of fraud in the unemployment system, or fraud's going to be where they're going to get you in this whole thing. So make sure that you actually pay the employees. Make sure that you do everything just right, because the Justice Department has said we have a task force and we're geared up. We learned in Katrina. We learned in all of these other disasters. We know where the fraud is. We're going after it. So that is a current statement from the Justice Department. And if one of these investigators get their hooks in you, you're in big trouble. So that's my story. It was totally innocent. We proved that on the day I had signed the papers for disability, I had had 120 milligrams of morphine. To put that in perspective, in the CRC, the chemical handbook, it says that 60 milligrams of morphine in a 24-hour period is fatal for an adult. and I had had over 120, plus 13 other types of drugs that day. I didn't remember signing that paper. No way. And it takes 6 months for the disability to kick in. That's the problem. So just be really careful what you're doing. I should have had a durable power of attorney, and in the accumulation preservation of wealth set, I've got the durable powers of attorney for you, and I teach you how to set them up for each member of the family, and I teach you how to use them. So use them, and you need them in place, because if a COVID patient goes down, they put them in a coma for a number of weeks, and while they're on the ventilator, they're in a coma too. And somebody needs the legal authority and power, one, to deal with the medical profession. So you need the HIPAA agreements waived, you need all of that stuff, and somebody else under the durable power of attorney needs the ability to handle financial affairs, do things, keep this PPP loan going if you go down. So these become critical pieces of paper in a time like this, and you need to be able to have them in place. I mean, we are learning that the psychological aspects of this coronavirus are going to be as bad as the economic almost. And the way you get rid of the psychological problems is you have these legal documents in place beforehand. You can't do them after. And then you can have somebody stand in and manage the business on your behalf. They can keep working on the PPP loan. They can keep doing all of this stuff if one of you goes down. So have all of those things in place. Make sure you do all of that. Anyway, I appreciate all of you being on. It's good to talk to you. And we're working to see if we can all get through this together. So God bless and stay well, okay? This is Lee. We'll catch you later. We'll end the seminar now. I don't think any questions have come in since, so we'll catch you in a while.